Oh, we do.
Now, this doesn't matter.
Morning, everyone. I would like to call the March 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Moraine City Council to order at 6 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Allen?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Doherty?
Here.
Ms. Marcus?
Here.
Mr. Burchett?
Here.
Mrs. Witt? Mayor Murphy?
Here. I
I'd like
would,
to make a motion to excuse Ms. Witt, please.
roll call, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes. Now, if everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council has copies of the March 27th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes. Does anyone have any changes or corrections? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. Now we will go into special presentations. The first one we have is oath of office.
Solemnly swear. Or affirm. That I will. Support the Constitution. Obey the laws. Of the United States. And of the state of Ohio. That I will. In all respects. Serve. And allegiance. Of the city of Moraine. And I will faithfully. Discharge the duties. Of police Going to embarrass Caleb here for a minute. So he has a pretty unique path that led him here to the city of Moraine. He grew up in Zambia and India, spent most of his childhood there, came back, attended college in Florida, but didn't spend the entire time there. He was awarded a very prestigious fellowship where he studied global terrorism for a semester. He also spent a semester abroad at the Oxford University in England. And part of his program was archaeology. He spent several months in different countries on archaeology digs. Came back, decided all that public service, he wanted to kind of combine things and become a police officer. He graduated from the police academy with honors and won some awards. We are very fortunate to have him and very glad that he's here. So please welcome Caleb. Pictures, family, come on up for pictures.
have a presentation by John Minor, Assistant Director of the Solid Waste Management District and Operations, Montgomery County Environmental Services. If you would like to come up to the podium, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council, staff. I appreciate you having me here tonight. I'm not going to be very long with this. Our plan covers about 389 pages. You have about 6 in front of you, and we're not even going to cover all 6. I don't want to bore you with some of the technical details of the plan, but in 1988, Ohio passed its solid waste management law, known also as House Bill 592. That particular law required counties throughout the state of Ohio to form solid waste management districts. They could be single county districts, joint districts, which means multiple counties together, and or solid waste authorities, which basically is a solid waste district with its own board of directors, and it basically is totally autonomous from any county government, but acts on behalf of the county's solid waste program. So in 1989, the Board of County Commissioners formed Montgomery County Solid Waste District. They previously had a garbage district that had been created in 1956, and as some of you may remember, the waste energy plants that were here in Montgomery County, both the north and the south incinerator. In 1992, those closed due to some air regulations that were passed by the US EPA. Those standards were extremely expensive to meet. Most municipalities, all of them in Ohio, closed their waste energy plants. It was just really an expensive venture to continue those. But one of the things that House Bill 592 did, it did really 2 key things. One, it required counties to put together a solid waste management plan, and within that plan, they had to guarantee that they had 20 years of disposal capacity. And they had to demonstrate how that was guaranteed. So here in Montgomery County, as you know, here in Moraine, we operate the transfer station and recycling facility located on Sand Ridge and in Crete. We entered into contracts with Rumpke for the disposal of all of the garbage that goes through that transfer station. So that met goal number 1. Goal number 2 is then we have to come up with a plan to reduce the amount of waste that's going into that transfer station or landfills. And back in 88, when they passed this, the industrial sector had a goal of 60%, and residential and commercial was 25%. They recently did away with the industrial goal only because throughout Ohio, they were exceeding 90% in most of the areas. Actually, here in Montgomery County, they're about 92%. The industrial sector is highly motivated to reduce the amount of waste that they send to a landfill. So on the residential commercial side, for a number of years, Montgomery County had been kind of around the 23%, which baffled me. I joined the solid waste district in about 6 years ago in 2018, and I'm very familiar with the Montgomery County and the programs that they run. 27 of the 28 governmental agencies have curbside recycling, so it just wasn't clear to me how we were not meeting that goal. So in this plan that we developed, I asked our consultants and our staffs to send me the surveys that we do throughout the community and to take a look. Well, we discovered that there was some, not misreporting, but a couple of our key sectors had put everything in the industrial sector. And it was basically their cardboard reporting. And so when we looked at that, I contacted the company, basically said, hey, I just want to check on this. Long story short, they admitted that, yeah, we put everything there, but a lot of it is commercial. We don't distinguish when it comes through and stuff. So they did some calculations, and we are now at 25.6%. So we meet that goal. There's another goal that Ohio EPA and the State Solid Waste Management Plan developed, and that was an accessibility and participation standard. There's a lot of small governmental agencies, solid waste districts throughout the state of Ohio that have a real challenge just because they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have a lot of curbside recycling needs. A lot of them are very rural. And so what the state came up with is, you know, you can put in some infrastructure so everybody can take it to a drop-off station or wherever and then meet participation goals. We also meet that goal. So here in Montgomery County with the programs that we operate, we are meeting both the major goals of the State Solid Waste Management Plan and the Ohio Revised Code. One of the key factors in the plan, and it's discussed in your packet, is that, of course, when you have programs, you have to fund them. And we have to do a 20-year budget. Even though the plan is only for 5 years, the plan documents all of the calculations, the analytics, the numbers that we gather. It's for a 20-year period. But every 5 years, we have to update that plan. And so we have a 20-year budget. And one of the things that happened back in 2024 is our Financial Advisory Committee, which city managers and financial managers throughout the townships, villages, sit on that committee. And the district had, for the longest time, had a very large balance that they were drawing down year after year. Well, we did some projections, and we were going to run out of that balance in 2026, which meant that we had a deficit that we couldn't fund, and in order to comply with the plan, we had to fix that. So the Financial Advisory Committee formed a subcommittee made up of the same folks of the Financial Advisory Committee, and we presented 5 or 6 different options for them. One of the things that they looked at, they wanted to know when the last fee increase was. That was in 2010. It went from $2 to $3. So, that was the last fee increase that we had. And then they wanted to look at the programs that we operated. Were there any opportunities for efficiencies and reductions in costs, which we started to implement in 2019 was the first one, and then we had been working on some other ones throughout that time period. So what they came up with was basically the district's going to need a 65-cent increase, which if the plan is ratified, would go into effect in 2026. Can't go into effect until the director of Ohio EPA approves the plan. He can't approve the plan, or she can't approve the plan until we ratify it locally. So that's kind of what I'm doing here tonight. Just so that you understand that 65 cents, most municipalities, each of the households generate about 1 ton of garbage a year. Some houses generate a little bit more, but on average, that's about where we're at. City of Moraigne's right within that average. So the impact to your residents are going to be 65 cents a year, or
It's
5.
not to our residents. We pay for all the
Okay, to your
residents'
budget,
trash.
okay.
Yes.
So that'll be your, so if you, I think the last time I looked at Moraine, they were a little bit around 1,900 tons. So basically 65 cents times the 1,900 is where you're gonna, end up on an annual basis being impacted by that. The one thing that, I think the city of Dayton collects your garbage. So they're going to be coming to you, depending on what your contract says, asking for that increase so that they can cover at least the cost of what we collect at the transfer station. So the impact on a per month basis is 5 cents. depending on the numbers that they have, they should match ours relatively closely because they report them to us on your behalf. So that's kind of the overview of the plan. There's nothing, all of the programs we're going to continue. We constantly look at whether we need to charge for some of those programs. We had two programs that we operate, the Household Hazardous Waste Program and the Electronics Program. We went out for bid, and in 2022, the Electronics Program went up 92%. The Household Hazardous Waste Program went up 200% in cost. So again, we constantly looking at ways to kind of lower the impact of those costs. So that's kind of a quick overview of this document, and with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I noticed here on your chart that 34% is going to administration.
Correct.
So, right there, that doesn't help us.
Well,
But
yeah,
the
part of
thing
that,
is,
part of that administration, Mayor, is grants. The grants that we give are about $375,000 a year, which goes to municipalities.
I do know with Stony Holler, it
Sure.
was supposed to close within 10 years, which didn't happen. Now you're
Right.
telling us 20 years.
Right,
All you have done for the city of Moraine is not a whole lot. We spent a whole summer with smells that nobody could go outside of their house. You keep raising it. Now you have where the gas is coming through the city of Moraine, because it's being collected here in Moraine, in the city. Dayton's getting $1 million a year for collecting that gas, even though it's in Moraine. There again, Moraine doesn't get anything. They get paid for having a landfill, since as soon as we closed our landfill, you put that landfill right there, which hurts the city of Moraine. It hurts our houses, it hurts everything about the city of Moraine. But then you keep raising your prices. And we're nice enough that the city does pay for all of our citizens their trash.
sure.
So you ask us to approve something that really is not benefiting the city of Moraine. I don't see how it could benefit the city, which you don't do anything for us. Nothing has ever been done for the city of Moraine since that landfill went in.
Well, one, just so that you know, the waste management landfill is in the city of Dayton. If it was in the city of Moraine, you would be able to collect a host community fee. The solid waste management district has nothing to do with
But
that
it's one,
landfill.
not even, what, a mile away?
I understand. I
It
mean,
still hurts us,
sure.
you know, and they get all the profit, and they don't care because they don't really have neighborhoods out here.
Sure.
You know, so Dayton doesn't care about the city of Moraine, and as far as I'm concerned, neither does Waste Management or Solid Waste. Nobody cares about us as a city.
Well, Mayor, with all due respect, I think the solid waste district and the Montgomery County solid waste operations has had a long-term partnership with the city. We continue to consult. We developed a road on Cardington. We paid for that road to pass through. We continue to try to upgrade and update that facility.
But it's not helping our citizens.
We are.
It's helping you. It's not helping us. You put that road in for you, not so much for us. Everybody in Montgomery County uses it, not just the city of Moraine. I've just been not real thrilled because now
Sure.
you're telling us another 20 years on that landfill, 20 to 30 years.
We don't control the permitting of that landfill, and none of our trash goes to that landfill, not a single bit of it. All the trash that we collect at our facility goes down to Cincinnati. So none of the stuff that goes into our transfer facility goes into the city of Moraine
Yeah, but
or
it's,
into the waste management's landfill.
well, we have the trucks going through our city, that's for sure.
Sure,
And that, but I'm just saying, whether our trash is going to Cincinnati or not, that landfill is still right there that we have to deal with. We deal with the smell, we deal with everything that happens out there, and we can't tell our citizens anything. And if you want to go to the EPA and complain, You pay $100, you go to the EPA, you talk to them, you can leave, because I've been there 4 times to the EPA to complain about that landfill. Nothing is ever done. Dayton doesn't care, neither do they. As long as you guys have a place to dump that trash, that's all you care about.
And again, we don't take any garbage there.
Well,
We have nothing to do with the operations or anything of that landfill
well, I
there.
try and look out for the
And
citizens
The
here.
one thing that I will tell you that we do for the city of Moraine is we have over $1 million indemnification for all of the municipalities in Montgomery County. So in the event that there's ever what we call potentially responsible parties for anybody that disposes of garbage in a landfill within our county, so any community that contracts for waste services, we cover that cost. So if you're named as a potentially responsible party, we have a fund that we keep over $1 million in so that you won't have any liability in regards to that facility, and you have a contract with us for that purpose. So there is that there. And we're happy to help with grants. Anytime the city wants to apply, those grants are always there. And we can also help be your advocate at the landfill. I wasn't here in 2017 when
I've
the.
been here since the beginning.
Yeah, I haven't, and I apologize for any past sins, but I'm here now, and
And then you were here in the last time we had this smell all summer where people couldn't
no, I
open up their
wasn't,
window.
ma'am. I started with the county in 2018.
That was just, when was that?
That was further back than that.
Was it further back? I didn't think it was.
It's been a while. It's hard to forget that one because we had the meeting in the city of Dayton, and Dayton residents were there.
Sure.
And city of Dayton didn't send a single member to that meeting.
Yeah, the thermal event that happened in late 2016 and 2017. I was not
And
here.
it's still covered.
I was aware of it, but I was not with the county at that time. I do sit, and staff sits on a council within the city of Dayton. It's an environmental council where we do talk about the odors, what Waste Management is doing to contain those. We get complaints from citizens of Moraine, and when that does happen, we contact Waste Management and ask them to do an air study so that we can determine whether it's coming from the landfill or whether it's coming from Dayton's wastewater treatment facility. So we do look at those things on behalf of the citizenry.
Are you monitoring the hole that they put in the liner that's over top of the aquifer?
We have no authority to do that. That's an EPA issue. So we don't have any regulatory or permitting authority.
Okay.
Do you have a business card?
I don't carry them because it generates waste. So I'm happy to give you my telephone number.
You can write it down for me or something. I can
Sure,
get it for you.
absolutely.
The reason I'm asking is just before the meeting, I saw something in the news that had something to do with waste disposal, and I didn't have time to read it, so I don't know if it applies or not, and I might have some questions about that.
Sure. Yeah, I can give you my office number. It's 937 781 3060. And that'll also ring to my cell phone if I'm
Okay.
not in the office.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else have any questions?
Do you know about how many employees are at the transfer center?
Sure,
Transfer station?
approximately 70
Okay.
people. It varies, depending on vacancies and things of
Right.
that nature, but around 70, including the district staff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the audience have any questions? Just because. Okay, well, thank you, sir,
Thank you,
very much
Mayor, I
for coming.
appreciate it.
And now we will go into reports. Finance Committee, anything to report?
No report, thank you.
Finance Director, anything to report?
Yes, you have my February monthly report in your packet. We have started off the year in a strong position. I also want to remind everyone that the tax filing deadline is approaching on April 15th. And as you know, because of the lack of privacy within our temporary offices, we've not been able to assist taxpayers in person. We do appreciate everyone's patience and understanding with that during this tax season. We are still very busy with returns through the Dropbox and assistance over the phone. That's all.
I have a question. Is there some place we can pick up a copy of the tax form, or residents can pick a copy of the tax form because of the temporary offices?
Yes, at the front, when you come in, there is a bin up there where we keep the tax forms.
Okay, so here at the Payne Rec Center? the front-
Yes, at the Payne Rec Center. We'll pick those
Thank
up.
you.
Okay. Committee of the whole, anything to report?
Yes, our last meeting was on March 13th, and there is a committee of the whole meeting following this meeting tonight. Thank you.
A city manager or acting city manager, anything to report?
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing in addition to Mr. Davis's written report, unless there are questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Law director, anything to report?
No report, Mayor, thank you.
And my mayor's court monthly report. The gross revenue of the mayor's account and bond account for the month of February 2025 was $18,701.65 after disbursements, and the net total for February 2025, which went into the general fund, was $14,036.84. And now we will go into business.
Ordinance number 2179-25, an ordinance approving current replacement pages to the Moraine Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
This is a housekeeping item. This ordinance approves supplemental pages to the Marine Codified Ordinance through January 1st, 2025, and will be passed as emergency legislation. This says an emergency. I move that we suspend the rules and have the second reading at this meeting.
Motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes,
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. 2179-25, an ordinance approving current replacement pages to the Moraine Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Motion to approve.
You've heard the motion. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ms. Marcus?
yes,
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2180-25, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement to permit farming operations on a parcel of real estate owned by the city of Moraine for an annual lease payment of $110, repealing all prior inconsistent legislation and declaring an emergency.
This legislation allows the city to enter into a farm lease agreement with Mark Allison. The current lease agreement ended March 25th, 2025. I move to declare an emergency and move to suspend the rules and allow the second reading and adoption of the ordinance at the meeting at which it was introduced.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
yes,
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement to permit farming operations on a parcel of real estate owned by the city of Moraine for an annual lease payment of $110, repealing all prior inconsistent legislation and declaring an emergency.
Motion to approve.
You've heard the motion. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
yes,
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2181-25, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement to permit farming operations on 24 acres of real estate owned by the city of Moraine for an annual lease payment of $4,560, repealing all prior inconsistent legislation and declaring an emergency.
This emergency ordinance authorizes a farm lease agreement between the City of Moraine and Chip Getter. The 3-year lease agreement term ended March 25th, 2025. Since this is an emergency, I move to suspend the rules to have the second reading at this meeting and adoption.
Roll call, please.
Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement to permit farming operations on 24 acres of real estate owned by the city of Moraine for an annual lease payment of $4,560, repealing all prior inconsistent legislation and declaring an emergency.
Motion to approve?
You've heard the motion. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Resolution 8141-25, a resolution approving and authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement with the Miami Conservancy District to obtain land use permit number 163177-1.
The city's agreement with the Miami Conservancy District for the land use permit number 16-2840-1 expires on March 31st. This legislation is necessary to authorize renewal of the agreement and to obtain land use permit 13-3177-1 for the Holes Creek Bridge. Motion to approve.
You've heard the motion. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Resolution 8142-25, a resolution approving the solid waste management plan of the Montgomery County Solid Waste Management District.
This resolution ratifies the revised solid waste management district plan that was discussed in the committee of the whole meeting on March 13 and presented to council earlier tonight. I'll make a motion to approve.
You've heard the motion. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
No.
Resolution 8143-25, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2025 Ford Transit 350 Cargo RDW high roof EXT van from Lebanon Ford for use by the Building Maintenance Division at a price of $64,023.
This resolution allows the purchase of a new cargo van to replace an older, high-mileage cargo van. This is a budgeted item. Motion to approve?
You've heard the motion. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Resolution 8144-25, a resolution approving and accepting the annual report of the Community Reinvestment Housing Council, CRHC.
This resolution is required and accepts the annual Community Reinvestment Housing Council report. Motion to approve.
You've heard the motion. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Resolution 8145-25, a resolution approving and accepting the annual report of the Tax Incentive Review Council, TIRC.
This legislation accepts the 2024 Annual Tax Incentive Review Council report. Motion to approve.
You've heard the motion. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes. Now, I don't think we have any persons appearing before council, so we will go into any other business. Does anyone on staff wish to give a report tonight? Please step up to the podium.
So next Friday is the adult Easter egg hunt, 9 o'clock here at Wax Park. We have over 100 people signed up already, so that's great numbers. And then also next Thursday is the last steering committee meeting for the master park plan. So we'll update after that.
Thank you.
Other than that, that's all I got.
Thanks, Brent.
Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, then we will go into other reports. Acting City Manager, anything to report, anything further?
I have nothing further, Mayor. Thank you.
Law Director, anything further to report?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Finance Director, anything further to report?
No, I don't, Mayor, thank you.
Clerk of Council, anything to report?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Miss Allen, anything to report?
Yes, I'd like to send condolences out to the family of Mary Saban. She's a longtime Moraine Senior Citizen member, and she was also on several boards and commissions here at the city. She will be missed. She was a dear friend.
Miss Marcus, anything to report?
Nothing to add?
Okay. Mr. Miller, anything to report?
Yeah, just to echo the same thing that Ora said about Mary Saban. She was very active in so many committees here for the city and clubs. And her husband Larry, that passed away a couple years before that, was very, very active. Back when we had the volunteer program, both of them volunteered at their age for community cleanups and all kinds of special events. And I think it's just a great example of just a couple of ordinary residents giving back to our community. So we'll miss Mary. Thank you.
Mr. Dougherty, anything to report?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Burchett, anything to report?
No report, thank you.
And all I have to say is, yeah, my prayers go out to the Saban family for all that Mary has done for the city and to welcome our new police officer. I would also like to thank the Miami Valley Communications Council for broadcasting this meeting live as well as future rebroadcasts. This regular council meeting is adjourned at 6:36.